Iain Begg. He is a professor at the European Institute, London School of Economics and Political Science. He joins us now from Cambridge in the UK. Iain, good to have you on the show. Let's talk about the political identity of the new Prime Minister. I mean, it isn't a very consistent one, to tell you the truth. I mean, she's been called a radical because of her thoughts on the monarchy. We kind of went into that just a moment ago, all the way out to being a staunch skeptic of the European Union. Which Liz Truss are we going to be seeing?
I wish we knew, because as you say, she's jumped around all over the place. She's been a Liberal Democrat, she's been a Remainer, she's been a Brexiteer, she's been anti-monarchist, now she's pro-monarchist. But I think it's probably maybe going a bit too far to worry about what she said 10, 20 or 30 years ago when she was a student. Rather, what we should concentrate on and what she's been saying during this leadership campaign, where she's promised to be a low-tax, pro-market, socially probably quite liberal leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister. The trouble is that some of her policies simply don't add up. And if you take the public finances, for instance, she said she's going to increase defense spending from 2% to 3% of GDP. That's expensive. She said she's going to cut taxes. That's expensive because it means the public finances face a hole. We're hearing, as your correspondent told us, that she's due to announce probably later this week a cap on the energy price, which implies government spending to subsidize the lower price. That's expensive. So there's a major problem about the public finances, in addition to those that we always highlight, namely the cost of living crisis, the difficulties in the health service, Ukraine, and all the rest of it.
So, I mean, some of the things that she's proposed in the campaign period, whether it's the lowering of taxes with the trickle-down economics, you said that it hasn't worked in the past, capping energy prices, the cost of living crisis. I mean, is this going to be enough in terms of reviving a stalled economy, which we all know comes at a very turbulent time?
It's going to be a very difficult path to navigate because of the risk to the public finances. She's very much putting forward the kinds of policies, not of Margaret Thatcher, but of Ronald Reagan, who said, cut taxes and everything else will trickle down, as you just said. The trouble with that is if you look at Reagan's record, in his period in power, his public debt went from 30% to 50% of GDP. The UK starts the Truss prime ministership with a public debt of around 100% of GDP. And there comes a point at which that's going to be hard and expensive to finance, and at which the markets will start to become more skeptical. So it's a big, big challenge to get this balance right.
During her tenure as Foreign Secretary, she did receive her share of criticism. What do you think could be some of the standout issues as Prime Minister?
Well, the list is long. We've already talked about the cost of living. There's the challenge of dealing with the backlog in the health service. So many operations cancelled as a result of COVID. Your correspondent mentioned the strikes. She has to adopt a strong position on Ukraine, which I think will be continuity in British policy. She has to deal with the European Union in a far more effective manner than she did as a Foreign Secretary. She's ramped up the rhetoric over the Northern Ireland Protocol. That's going to need a solution quite quickly. She's been, shall we say, less than flattering about Emmanuel Macron on the campaign trail. I think the big test now for Liz Truss is to make the transition from campaigning, where lots of things were said which probably didn't make sense, to governing, which is a far bigger challenge.
Okay. Iain Begg, thank you very much for joining us on the NewsHour. I do appreciate the analysis. Thank you.